hey, guess what? Christmas is coming up. I'm mentioning it. We're probably going to talk about it off and on quite a bit today.
Yeah.
You know, I think Russell's point from last week is very well taken, which is that there's not so much a war on Christmas as there's a war on everything that's not Christian about Christmas by Christians.
Well, if you're an atheist, then, you know, why do you come to work on Christmas Day? I mean, it's just another day, right? And she said, because I'm not stupid. They're paying me to stay home.
Yeah.
It's like, and for some of us, that's the significance of Christmas. We get a lot of time off.
Yeah, and people want to talk about, well, what's the real reason for the season? Is it the birth of Jesus? Is it peace on earth, goodwill towards men? Is it, you know, loving each other? Is it spending as much money on useless crap as you can? The reason for the season is whatever you want. Celebrate whatever you want for whatever reason you want. Why is that so hard?
Yeah.
Why is it, oh, we need a reason to celebrate? No, we don't. You don't need any reason at all to celebrate. As a matter of fact, it may be better to celebrate without a reason. So, Justin.
Hello.
How are you?
But recently, the Luzerne County Courthouse had religious displays that were clearly unconstitutional. I filed a complaint to the ACLU. There was this big nativity scene right in the front, lighted up at night, that was way overlooking all the other displays, a menorah way off to the side that wasn't lighted at night, and a snowman behind a tree in the back. So eventually the displays were taken down, and the people in this county went absolutely crazy. I've received so much hate mail, threats, nonsense. People are wanting to send me to hell. My soul's tormented, and it's getting absolutely ridiculous. They don't want to listen to the arguments that this was unconstitutional, and they keep saying things like, oh, you're trying to take away freedom. You're trying to take away my rights. I want to celebrate Christmas. And they don't want to listen to the arguments here.
I have some questions because I'm not familiar with the specifics of this case. What the nativity scene and the other elements, were they put up by individuals or by the town?
The government actually put them up. They bought the items, they maintained the items, and they were using taxpayer money for lights on them too.
It's about the government just out and out paying for religious displays.
Yes, the government completely constituted free speech in the area, and the nativity scene and the menorah were counted as separate displays because they were so far away from each other. There was no effort for thematic unity. There was no effort to make it a neutral message. It was a clear governmental endorsement, and the ACLU sent a letter out about December 11th, and at the last possible moment, the courthouse responded and said, all right, we're taking it down, and now the county goes crazy. They say, oh, we didn't want to have a legal battle because we're broke and this and that, but they're not willing to stand up and say what we did is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
They're not willing to say that. They're just trying to pander to the voters. They are the courthouse. They should know the law. They're violating the law. We shouldn't need to send letters. They should know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. So you've been getting death threats and hate mail?
Well, not death threats, but a lot of threats. People.
Well, after death threats.
I have a whole folder actually on my desktop with all this. It's a lot of ignorance. People don't know the law. People don't want to listen. This one person, apparently from the Marine Corps, sends me a message here. It ain't unconstitutional. You dummy. The God Constitution says the right to free religion. The courthouse religion is Catholic, so that's what they are displaying. Now shut up and crawl back into your hole and go play your little D&D and beat off with your friends. So that was kind of interesting.
Nice.
So we've got at least one Marine serving who doesn't understand the oath he took to uphold and defend the Constitution. That's
well, he might understand the oath. He just doesn't understand the Constitution behind the oath.
Yeah.
I'm supporting the Constitution, and that church is, that courthouse's religion is Catholic.
That's what he says.
Wow. That's, yeah.
There have been a lot of really good ones. I mean, if you Google my name, it's Justin Vakula. You can easily find everything. I'm being lambasted on Craigslist. They said, what am I going to go down there with a pink cigar and, have a pole and this and that? And it's getting absolutely out of hand. My wall has been flooded. But it's been kind of entertaining, and it proves the point here that these religious people don't want to listen to clear argumentation. They haven't even read the legal arguments. And even if they did, they say, oh, we don't care. We just want our tradition.
Yeah.
So they say, just forget the law.
Yeah, they're happy to endorse the law when the law supports them, and they ignore it when it doesn't. And they do the same for science. They're happy to cite science when science appears to support them, and they're happy to ignore and deny science when science doesn't. It's an entirely win-win situation for them. It's so absurd that it's difficult for me to even grasp how I ever thought remotely like that.
I know.
And yet, and yet I also know people who currently think like that. I have people that I deeply care about who think like that. And it's one of the reasons why we keep doing what we're doing here, because one of these days I'd like to think that it may be possible to figure this stuff out, to figure out what it is that drives people. Is it just fear? Is it just ignorance? Is it a combination? Is it some evolutionary remnant of relying on authority? I don't know.
Well, and I think a lot of people that they want to have religion in the public square. It's almost like they want some kind of government endorsement of religion, but they're ignorant of what happens when you do that. And Europe is a very interesting case in that, because most countries in Europe have some kind of official church. And what you see over there is that having this official government-sponsored church has basically eliminated the competition. So all of these other different beliefs that people have, and I mean, I can't even count how many different denominations we have here, and even some of the stranger ones that have sprung up as homegrown American denominations. But one of the reasons that these groups have flourished in this country is because there is this competition for ideas, and because there's no official endorsement of government religion. So I think that people that want the government to endorse their brand of religion, they don't seem to get what they're asking for. But if people are really hell-bent on living in a theocracy, tell them to move to Saudi Arabia. They got a theocracy there. They'll hook them up. Of course, the argument will be, well, that's not my religion, but that's the beauty of a theocracy. You don't actually get to pick the religion you have to practice.